Julius Robert Oppenheimer, American theoretical physicist and the father of the atomic bomb, is the talk of the world following the release of the biographical film on him. This episode of Geometric View is being shot 78 years, almost to the day, since the atomic bombs so utterly devastated Hiroshima and Nagasaki on August 6 and 9, 1945, that the world cannot forget it even nearly 8 decades later. Those mass murders happened over 2 days in 2 cities, and the perpetrators could easily be identified. Not so with another bomb that has been wrecking the world before and since the atomic bombs. Organized religions running riot. At the turn of the century, when I read an article that predicted increased religious conflicts in the 21st century, I sneered at it. Come on, this is the 21st century when the world goes digital, when the internet is in everybody's pocket and information flows freely, and we have a new generation that is keener on how they look on social media rather than kneeling down in prayer. Does religion stand even a remote chance, I thought. 23 years into the 21st century, I stand humbled and corrected by the manner in which the rabbis, the mullahs, the padres and the pujaris have a stranglehold on humanity and how hatred has come to occupy human hearts. Look around India and the world to see just how far religion can drive people crazy. First, some recent examples from India. April 2nd, communal clash in Gujarat's Una, right-wing activist among 50 detained. April 17, communal tension flares up in 3 more states, 140 arrested, reports the Hindustan Times. The 3 states are Andhra Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Karnataka, when the Hanuman Jayanti was celebrated. And on May 3rd, Manipur happens, and 94 days later, we still can't put it down. It makes global headlines, the European Parliament discusses it, and the intensity of hatred between the 2 ethnic groups is such that even the burial of people killed in the clashes is delayed. Worse than in wartime. March 20, the Times of India reports, 2 more arrested over communal violence in Maharashtra's Akola. June 12, Mint. Uttarakhand communal tension, Muslim shopkeepers told to leave. June 29, The Organizer. Assam communal tension flares up in Silchar city. July 9th, Hindustan Times. Communal tension grips Uttarakhand town after offensive Facebook post on Kedarnath. July 31st, Haryana's Nu explodes in communal violence. And the next day, August 1st, the ripples of the Nu violence spills over into Gurugram. Apparently the most prestigious address for MNCs after Bengaluru. And the likelihood that in future, when MNCs pick a location, they're likely to consider the potential of communal violence flaring up in that location. Down south in Kerala, there is an uproar this week as the Nair Service Society alleges that the State Assembly Speaker said that the Hindu god Ganesha is a myth. Literate Keralites did not take up arms like in the rest of the country, but countered with telling comments on social media. Some said communism is the biggest myth, while others said Ache Din is a bigger myth. Kerala's Christians prefer not to attack other religions but train the guns on themselves. So, 2000 years after Jesus Christ's Last Supper, the Syro-Malabar Church members fight over whether to conduct Mass facing the congregation or facing the altar. I've only picked a handful of communal issues in India since April. In the 5 years between 2017 and 2021, over 2,900 cases of communal or religious rioting were registered in the country. Union Minister of State for Home Nityanand Rai informed Parliament in December 2022. That is an average of 580 communal or religious riots in the country every year. In other words, 3 communal or religious riots every 2 days. Like nuclear proliferation in the 21st century, communal issues are no India-specific phenomenon. Take a glance around the world. April 3rd, Nepal sees communal tension at Ram Navami rallies for the first time. May 19th, more than 100 people dead in communal clashes in Nigeria. And then, Denmark and Sweden witness Quran desecrations. In retaliation, in Baghdad, the Swedish embassy is stormed and set on fire. And in July, Swedish police authorized protest by a man who plans to burn Torah Bible outside Israeli embassy. This week, 77-year-old Indonesian cleric Panji Gumilang is arrested for blasphemy after allowing women to preach in the world's largest Muslim majority country. In Iran, as the anti-hijab protest first anniversary approaches, authorities are preparing a new bill that makes hijab wearing mandatory. Reports say that the bill proposes unprecedentedly harsh punitive measures for those who don't wear the veil. And in the US, Pastor Hank Kunneman says about the Republican presidential candidate hopeful Vivek Ramaswamy, we can't let his strange gods into the White House. Earlier this year, Saudi Arabia announced that sending red heart emojis amounts to a harassment crime. And this week in Afghanistan, the Taliban set a pile of musical instruments on fire because they are immoral. Organized religions carpet bombing the whole world. After the atomic bombs in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan could still emerge one of the world's leading economic powers. Religious bombs are different, perennially dividing people and pulling societies down by hatred. After initially celebrating the bombings at Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Oppenheimer is said to have told American President Harry S. Truman, I have blood on my hands. Don't expect organized religions to make such confessions. Think of it, this is the time we should be really proud. Our third lunar mission, the Chandrayaan-3, has covered more than 260,000 kilometers and is getting closer to its destination, the lunar surface. But down below, we are focused on ascertaining whether the 17th century Gyanvapi Mosque was built atop a Hindu temple. We put off a foreign yoke in 1947. Seems like we have put on the religious yoke. This episode of Geometric View salutes a mosque and a temple in Elavaramkuri village in Kollam, Kerala, which stands out as an example of harmonious coexistence of religions. The Juma Masjid and the Mahadeva temple here recently set up their offering vaults next to each other. 2 years ago, they had set up a common entrance arch for the mosque and temple. God bless.